So there's only two things holding you from having an abundant dating life as a shorter man. And the first thing is the content you're consuming on social media. And the second thing is your mindset. So starting this video off with the content you're consuming. So you've probably heard this saying before. So I'm going to make an analogy for you. You're the average of the five people you spend the most time with. I think most of us can agree that that statement holds a ton of truth to it. Like, it's a super valid statement. If you disagree, you're delusional. But I like to take this quote a step further and say that not just the five people you spend the most time with, but the content you consume on social media, right? You know, whatever creators you're watching, whatever streamers, whatever gurus, whoever you're watching, that affects the way you think, the things you say, the things you believe, the way you perceive the world. Content's very, very powerful. It's very powerful. Same with music, any kind of media. You know, you got to be careful with what you watch because it will definitely change your perception of reality and the way you think about yourself. And a lot of guys, you know, they get in the rabbit hole of watching like these street interviews on TikTok and YouTube where, you know, some guy will be on 6th Street, which, if you don't know what 6th Street is, it's like this one strip of bars in Austin, Texas, or they'll be like in Brickell, Miami, and they'll just be interviewing a bunch of girls that are going out that are drunk, they're like shit faced, and they'll ask them all these questions like, oh, how man does your man's dick need to be? And they'll be like 10 inches, 12 inches. Or they'll be like, how much money does a man need to make? He needs to make $1 million every month. Or they'll be like, you know, what's more important, personality or looks? And, you know, just all this controversial stuff. And they'll always talk about height too. They'll always talk about height. And these girls in these street interviews will say, oh, my man has to be 6'5", or he has to be 6'6", or just something totally unrealistic that's out of the norm. But guys hear this. They hear all these things women are saying in these interviews, and they take it at heart. They think it's reality. And I'm sorry to break it to you, bro, but like, you're kind of a fucking idiot if you're like watching these videos and taking them at heart, because you got to understand there's so many variables that go into these videos. There's so many different variables. It's insane. Like, think about it. These guys are posting these videos to rile up emotion, to get more views, to be placed better on the algorithm, to get more likes, to get more subscribers, to profit off of your emotions. So of course they're gonna either A, script these videos so these girls just say whatever they want them to say, or B, they're gonna cherry handpick the most controversial videos and package it into one video. Like, bro, you're delusional to think that this is actually the way all girls think. But guys hear this and they take it at heart, and then they become insecure. They lose confidence in themselves. They don't think they're good enough. And every time they see a cute girl, they don't have the balls to speak to her. Even if they match with a girl on a dating app, they don't have the balls to go out with her because they don't think they're going to fall to her standards. And all of a sudden, you're viewing yourself as below all these women, which is giving you just this like lack of confidence, this lack of self-esteem, where you're no longer this attractive man. Like, she might have been physically attracted to you, but because of the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you think, that energy, that aura, it projects to the world, and she can pick up on it, and it makes her lose attraction, because women crave a man who's masculine, a man who's confident in himself. And when you lose that confidence, that masculine edge to you, she can't respect you anymore. So watching all this media, it's fucking with your brain. It's fucking with your brain. It's fucking with your reality, the way you see the world, the way you think. I'm telling you, just stop watching those videos. Cut them out, block them from your algorithm, do what you gotta do, because it's messing everything up. Like, I'm telling you, bro, the bar is so low. The bar is so low. And I'll tell you this, I don't want to get like too red-pilled in this video, because that's not really the purpose of this channel. But, you know, I do hold my fair share of beliefs when it comes to the red pill. And one thing that holds a lot of truth when it comes to the red pill is women will say things and they don't mean it. Like, they don't even, it's not even like a malicious thing. Like, women just say shit, bro. They just say shit. They don't know what they fucking mean. Like, women will say, oh, I'll never date a guy who's like this, blah, 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 blah. And then the next day you see them going out with that kind of guy, right? You know what I mean? Like, you could probably think of 1,000 examples on the top of your head where women say something and they do the exact opposite, right? It's because women are emotional. They're emotional. Men, we're logical, right? This is just human nature. So you got to look at a woman's actions and not what she says. And oftentimes you'll see that Women never go for the guys that they say they actually want. So all these like, 6 foot guys who are packing fucking 10 inches down there. Like, bro, like you're fine. You don't have to be a fucking porn star. You don't have to be a fucking porn star, bro. You just got to be a little bit better than the average Joe, which isn't hard. It isn't hard. The bar is very low, as I said. The average man, if you look around, he's out of shape, has less than $1,000 in his bank account, doesn't dress nice, is afraid to talk to girls, isn't very confident in himself. So if you can work on just being good in those areas, you're instantly going to stand out amongst all the guys who are taller than you. Like I'm telling you, bro, like you really don't have to work that hard. I've done it. You can do it too. I'm telling you, the bar is low. Now, the second mistake is your mindset. Second mistake is your mindset. This kind of bleeds in to the first point about the content you consume because that affects your mindset. But I want to get deeper into the mindset because a lot of guys like to play the victim. They like to play the victim and think that they're doomed. There's nothing they can do about it, because they're short. Women will never find them attractive. And if that's what you believe, that's going to become your reality because, like I said, this goes back to the whole confidence thing. You're not going to carry yourself with confidence. You're not going to speak with conviction. You're going to have poor body language. You're going to walk around with your head slouched, shoulders rolled forward, hands in your pocket. You're not going to look sure of yourself. And when you talk to women, they're going to reject you. They're not going to want to talk to you. They're going to give you the cold shoulder. The interaction's not going to go well, and you're going to end up blaming your height. You're going to end up blaming your height when the reality was it really just had to do with your self-belief. It just had to do with your self-belief. Because I can tell you this, as a shorter man who's only 5'6", I've never been rejected for my height. It's never happened and it never will. Because I refuse to let it be a limiting factor to me. I refuse. At a young age, I made a pact with myself. I used to be really insecure about my height when I was 16 because everyone hit puberty and they were taller than me. But I made a pact with myself, no longer I'm going to let this insecurity control me and negatively affect my life. I will never let something that's outside of my control negatively affect me. I'll only focus on the things I can control. In fact, I am so careful about the things I say and think. I control my thoughts. My brain only produces positive reinforcement because of the way I live my life, right? Those negative thoughts are cancer. They're cancer and they dictate your reality. This isn't like some new agey thing. This is the truth. When you think something, you act on it. When you say something, you believe it and you act on it, and it correlates with your actions, right? If you simply believe something's possible, you're going to do whatever it takes to make it happen. You see what I'm saying, man? I lost my train of thought, but I made that pact with myself. And ever since, I decided to focus on the things that were in my control. I remember what I was talking about. When I started to focus on the things I can control, like my finances, my physique, my looks, my style, my grooming, my confidence, my social skills, the way I articulate myself, everything, I just became super well-rounded, right? And it made up for my one flaw, which was my height, right? That's what I like to call short guy game, where essentially you max out every other stat that's in your control to make up for your height, where you're all of a sudden a woman's best option. Because I'll tell you this, like I said, the bar is so low. The bar is so low. Like just because a guy is tall doesn't mean she's going to pick him over you. Because it's not about being good in just one area of your life. It's about being as well-rounded as possible. Like you, just because you're tall doesn't mean you're going to get girls. Like you might get a date here and there. Girls might notice you, it might help you get noticed easier. It might get you choosing signals. But like those relationships, those girls, it's not going to go very far. You might get a date and then you never see her again. You might get approached and then you talk to her and she's disgusted because you don't even have good social skills, right? It's about maxing out every trait of your life to make up for this one flaw, being as well-rounded as possible, right? Because women don't want a man who's just good in one area. They want a man who's the full package. And as a shorter man, yeah, you can't control your height, but you can control everything else. And it instantly makes you stand out amongst all the other guys she's talking to. Like when you are making good money, you're able to provide better experience for her. When you work on your looks, you create that primal biological attraction. When you have the physique, that's what really creates the evolutionary primal desire where she can't help but feel attracted to you. In fact, there's studies that show when you build the aesthetic body, when you have the perfect shoulder to waist ratio, it doesn't matter what flaw you have, women will look past it because you just create that attraction, that true burning desire. So you need to focus on everything you can control because it's going to literally make everything be on God mode. It's literally going to be on easy mode, because I'll tell you this, man, back then when I was kind of a bum, when I was fat, when I was, not very hygienic, when I was broke, when I was unemployed, my dating life was non-existent. It was non-existent. I couldn't attract a girl to save my life. Girls didn't want anything to do with me. And then when I finally, drew the line in the sand and said it's enough, and made a change, got in shape, got lean, dropped some body fat, got my hair cut, grew the mustache goatee combo, started dressing nicer, dating became so much easier for me. It became so much easier for me because I stopped playing the victim. I was able to objectively look at myself in the mirror and see, what can I control, what can I not control, and how can I improve these areas to the best of my ability to make it a no-brainer for her to choose me over any other guy she's talking to. And once I did that, women started checking me out left and right, started getting choosing signals, started getting approached, started getting more matches than I know what to do with on dating apps. Random girls just started following me on Instagram. Everything's just on autopilot now. It's on autopilot, and I'm able to focus on bigger and better things now. I don't even have to think about dating because the women just come to me. All I have to do is message them on a dating app, and boom, I can see them. I can get a date just about any night of the week if I wanted to. It's crazy. It's crazy, but you have to get your mindset right. You can't play the victim. You have to focus on the things you can control and maximize them to the best of your ability. I'm going to keep hammering this in your head because it's the most important mindset that you have to adopt. Like, if there's one thing you take away from this video, it's that. It's even more important than the first point I said, because I'm telling you, once you change that, everything will be different. You'll view the world like in a way that you've never seen it before. You'll experience women actually looking at you with true burning desire. When you go on dates, women are actually going to fall in your frame. They're going to be touchy. They're going to be feely with you. They're going to engage in the conversation. They're actually going to want to go out with you and spend time with you. They'll drive an hour and a half to see you, to do little things like grab gelato. But this only happens when you say, I'm not good enough. It's not my height. It's everything else. Because when a woman rejects you for your height, it's never because you're short. It's never because you're short. Very few women genuinely have height standards. When a woman says, I don't date short guys, if that's something you're consistently told, it's not because you're short. It's because you're severely lacking as a man. Because no woman's going to tell you, yeah, I just don't date fat dudes. Oh, yeah, I don't date broke dudes. I don't date dudes who are unhygienic. You know what I mean? It's just a lot nicer for her to say, I don't date short guys. But yeah, man, I'm telling you, like, the power's in your control. You just got to get your mindset right. You got to be careful with the content you consume, and you can completely change your life. It doesn't matter how short you are. There's another man on this planet, the same age as you, who looks kind of like you, with the exact same circumstances, who has no problem attracting women. He can go on a date any night of the week. I might be that person, right? There's 7 billion people on the earth. You can't tell me there's another person who doesn't look just like you who's crushing it with women. I've proven it wrong. I decided I didn't want to be another statistic. I don't care that the studies say, you have to be 6 feet tall. I'm not going to fall to another statistic. I refuse. I refuse to believe things that are going to negatively affect my life. It does me no good to live my life with the belief that women don't like shorter men. Why would I believe that? Why would I believe that? It doesn't do me any good. I disregard it. It's not factual. It's made up. It's a myth. When you walk like that, when you genuinely believe you're the man, your life will never be better. Your life will never be better when you live this life where you refuse to accept any negative thoughts and you believe you're the man. But most of you guys can't even believe you're the man because your mind isn't in the right spot. You play the victim. You blame everyone else for your problems but yourself. And when you blame everyone else for your problems but yourself, the solutions become out of your control. That's why you're not able to think the way I do. That's not why you're able to objectively look at yourself in the mirror and see, maybe I'm the problem. This is what I can do better. No, you blame everyone else and they become the puppet master over your life. I'm telling you, man, you got to take self-ownership. You got to take extreme self-accountability because it's going to change the trajectory of your life and you'll see things in a totally new way that you never have before. But that's it for this video, man. I had to get that off my chest. This is going to change your life. It changed mine. I wouldn't be making these videos for you guys if I didn't have this mindset, if I didn't make the change. And I want you guys to be able to experience the same. So don't just watch these videos. Don't just watch these videos because they're getting a lot of traction lately. I want you to actually apply the things I teach so I can actually change your life. But that's it for this video, man. If you want to work one-on-one with me, top link in the description. I help shorter men improve their self-image and their mindset, getting the right haircut, getting the right style, the right workout routine, all that, so they can become more physically attractive, so they can improve their dating life, the quality of women they're actually attracting in their life. I'm not just talking about like looks wise, but personality too. I told you what happened with my dating life. You're 100% capable of achieving that too. You just got to lock in and put in the work. So if you want my one-on-one help with that, you can book a call with me. I'll help you get right. Otherwise, I got a dozen videos on my page just like this that tell you everything you need to do to improve your life. Like you could literally watch all my YouTube videos and you don't even need my coaching. But, if you want to take the guesswork out and not have to waste your time, you just want someone who's been in your shoes and made all the mistakes and can help you get there faster, just book a call with me. Or if you have any questions about it, just message me on Instagram and we can talk and we'll make something happen, man. But that's it for this video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.